Happy New Year, everyone. My name is Alex, and for 2026, I'd like to start creating videos that will help everyone start to budget and essentially improve their current financial situation. Me personally, I didn't start budgeting until a year or two after college. I believe it was 2016, and I graduated college in 2014, so it took a couple years to get to finally budgeting, but I will tell you that budgeting did help out my life drastically. So for this example, we'll be using bi-weekly paychecks, getting paid every 2 weeks, and we'll also be using the national salary average of 66,560 per year. This results to about $32 per hour. You see that conversion here, where we have 80 hours per paycheck multiplied by the 32 base hourly pay. It gives us $2,560 per paycheck. Alright, let's get started. So with this paycheck that we're receiving, we have to take out taxes. We can estimate around 0.24% here. So what we'll do, or I say 0.24%, 24%, we'll put 0.24 in our equation. So we can estimate about $614 for taxes. Now this will change depending on your dependent situation and your state tax allocations, but we'll use 0.24, we'll use 24% as the percentage value in this example. For your benefits, you may see around 6% of your paycheck being taken out for benefits. Again, this depends on your employer, but we'll use 6% for this example. Alright, tithe and retirement, we'll leave these two items blank for now. After we've taken out taxes and benefits, we now have $17.92 left over for our household expenses. Ideally, we should not be spending more than 30% of our mortgage or rent towards our household. So we'll use that for this example. Dave Ramsey actually teaches, I think, either 20 or 25%, but from what I've seen, it seems like people are using 30, so we'll use that for this example here. So we'll take our base pay there and we'll multiply that by 30%, 0.30. Alright, 768 per paycheck. This results in a monthly payment towards our mortgage or rent is $15.36. From here, you want to calculate how much we're going to spend on a monthly basis for our gas, electric, water, and utilities. Typically, you'll see around $200 per month for that. For a one bedroom, we'll say that's $100 per paycheck. Car payment, estimate $500 a month. We'll say $250 per paycheck. Car insurance, $130 per month. We'll say $65 per paycheck. Car gas, depending on if you live close to work, far from work, if you're a grocery store and everything is close by. Those are all factors, but we'll use $50 per paycheck for car gas. Phone bill, we'll see an average around $93 a month. We'll use $100 a month for your phone bill payment, so that'd be $50 per paycheck. Savings, we'll leave blank for now. Food and groceries, we'll say $500 a month, say $250 per paycheck. Then Netflix, streaming service, internet, see around $130 per month. For this example, we'll say $65 per paycheck. Alright, so after we covered our normal monthly expenses, it looks like we have $94 left over for from our necessities being paid. Then we also have student loan payments if you have them. You can put that down here. Say you're paying $100 a month toward it, so $50 per paycheck. Credit card, same deal here. $50 per paycheck, $100 a month. And it looks like we have $94 left over from our paycheck to spend on what we want. So this here is the baseline budget. Essentially these values here is just taking the original payment value that we get from our employer, and we're just subtracting all the values that we listed here so that we account for every dollar. That is taken all the way down through the bottom of the budget. Looks like we have $94 left over. Now, one of the first things that Dave Ramsey teaches is to save $1,000. So this $94 is actually going to go here. Alright, so now we have a zero base budget, which is what we want to achieve. We always want to assign every dollar to a task, and we've done that here. Now, we want to hit $1,000. How long is it going to take to get to $1,000? By saving $94 per paycheck. Take 1,000 divided by this 94. It's going to take 10.64 paychecks, so 11 paychecks, just 5.5 months. So we'll just say 6 months. All right. Excuse me. Once we have our 6 months savings done and we reach this $1,000, we then remove this $94 from our savings, and we want to put this additional amount towards one of our bills here. Now, how do we decide what bill to put this extra $94 to? Dave Ramsey always recommends that we put it towards the lowest bill balance. So down here we have student loans. Let's say you have 50,000 student loans. For your car you have 20,000 on your principal left, and then credit cards, let's say you have 5,000. So instead of paying $50 a month, per paycheck towards your car payment, you're now going to be paying $144 per paycheck towards your credit cards. So if we take 5,000 divided by 144, you have 34.72 paychecks. So let's do 34.72 minus 26, because there's 26 paychecks in a year, comes down to 8.72. The 8.72. So that's about 4 months, 4.5 months there. So we'll say a year, 4.5 months. We'll just say a year and 5 months. Alright, that's how long it will take to pay off this credit card. Now note, it should be a little bit quicker than this, because throughout the time of saving up $1,000, we're going to be making our normal payment. So this should technically be faster than a year or 5 months, but we'll just use this type of math for this example here. Alright, once that credit card is paid off, we can remove it here. And then we see that we have $144 left over. We'll put that to our extra car note payment. So we have 144 here, we have the 250 up here, $394 that we're putting towards our car payment per paycheck. It's 394, 394. Alright, so we see that by putting $394 per paycheck towards our car note, we would then be able to have this paid off in 50.76 paychecks. That comes down to, alright, it's a year and 24 paychecks, so a year and 11 months. Alright, before that's paid off, so almost 2 years there. And last but not least, we have our student loans left. So if we want to tackle those, it looks like we'll be able to put the full $444 toward our student loan payment per month. Not per month, per paycheck. So if we're putting $444 toward our student loans per paycheck, that's 112.61 paychecks. Alright, so that's going to be 4 years. And it looks like 4 months, we'll say 4 years, 5 months. Before that's paid off. Alright, so for our total time for this to complete, say 6 months, which is 0.5 of a year, plus 4 years, 5 months, say 5 months is 0.416, so we'll say 42, so 4.42 plus a year and 11 months plus 1.11 months is 0.916, so we'll say 92 plus a year and 5 months, 1.42. Alright, so what we did here is we're adding 6 months, which is half a year. We're adding 4 years, 5 months for paying off student loans. We're adding a year and 11 months, 1.92 years, and then we're adding a final year of a year and 5 months, which is 1.42. So with this example, all of your debt, which is $75,000, would be paid off in 8.26 years. Now, this seems like a pretty crazy number, almost 10 years of paying off debt. So, what can we do to improve this timeline? Because we want to knock this down to 4 years if possible. So, what you can do is you can raise your income. You can do additional things in the afternoon or the weekend with DoorDash. You can pick up a second job, figure out a side hustle to add to your total income, because that's going to allow you to put more towards your debt. You can review your bills and cut expenses. So, for example, you can make sure you're turning off all your lights and everything, turning off your computer, different appliances when you're leaving the house, especially if you don't have to remote anything in. I recommend leaving the refrigerator plugged up because you'll need to keep your food cold. As far as car insurance, you can shop around. If 130 a month is a lot, or it may not seem like a lot, but there are companies that can um, that offer lower car insurance. Car gas, you can look for ways to commute better. If you're able to carpool, that's one thing. If you're able to work from home, this is going to go down. So this can be fluctuated. Your phone bill, same thing here. A lot of the mainstream phone companies offer higher rates compared to some of the smaller ones. For example, Mint Mobile they offer $240 a year for service, but after taxes and everything, it comes up to about $260 a year, which is actually perfect because we have 26 paychecks in a year. So that runs about $10 per paycheck, so that's a significant savings here. Whereas we're paying $100 a month, it's around $20 a month, so $80 per month to put towards, your other bills and your debts, food and groceries. This is a big item here that can easily change. You don't have to spend $500 a month towards food. You can drop this down to $400 if you're able to. Drop it to like $300, which is like $150 per paycheck. Now, this really depends on what you're eating. If you're not eating out as much, if you're finding meals that you like that's cheaper, that you can make and survive off of that. But the goal here is to see how much you make, how much your expenses are, what's left over, and paying off your debts as quickly as possible so that you can then be financially free from debt. So let's put this to 200 and look at that. We didn't really adjust any of our bills, but once all your debt is paid off, look, you have $494 extra. Now you're actually able to put some money towards retirement. Let's say you're putting 200 per paycheck here. Why is that invisible? Because of the tax. Right. So you say you're putting 200 per paycheck towards retirement now. You're putting 100 towards the church. Let's put 200 here. And then you're back to putting $94 towards savings per paycheck. But when we started the budget, we didn't put anything toward tithing or towards retirement. If you're not religious at all, you don't really have to worry about the tithe, so you can put that $200 towards something else. But yeah, this is how you build a budget. Hope that I covered most of the important topics. We talked about building the budget. We talked about focusing on your debt, paying off the lowest balance, principal balance debt, working your way up to the highest principal balance, side hustles to increase your income. We worked on different things you can do to lower your monthly expenses so you can put more money towards debt. Once you've done this, your life will dramatically increase. You'll have more funds and such to do the things that you want without having to feel guilty. You'll have money like never before. This $1,000 is going to increase drastically now that you have funds to put towards other areas in your life. So really hope this helps. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly, and I'll personally help you build a budget if that's what you need. But yeah, my name is Alex. You all have a great new year, and let's start budgeting.